Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Tip of the Mitt fishing report with Brian Kosminski of Trout. How you doing, Kaz?
I'm excellent, on the edge of post-trout opener weekend. How are you, Mr. Cash?
As always, just trying to stay out of trouble. I would say, down in our neck of the woods, we don't really have an official opener anymore, so we don't have a closed season. So we don't have quite the madness that you have up in your neck of the woods.
We don't really have a closed season on most of our rivers. This just becomes either celebratory rite of spring is finally here and we can start fishing, but this is also the opener of catch and harvest, I suppose. The catch and kill guys this weekend was definitely, trout camps were set up at different campgrounds and they were getting ready to go out and get their worm dunking, rappella throwing, rooster tail, panther martin, fill up my creel festival going.
Yeah, how do you really feel about it?
No, it's a good thing. We drove through some areas and said hi to some folks, and it's kind of a cool thing to see people coming up, and it's kind of like deer camp. Some guys come up to deer camp and they don't really hunt. It's a time of the year and a good time to spend together with other like-minded folks. But we did talk to some guys riverside as we were scouting out some spots to fish, and we mentioned something to them about watch out for the dynamo and make sure they clean out their waders. And they looked at us like, hey, we don't fly fish. I don't know what you're talking about. And I had to explain to them that the dynamo is a rock snot covering up the bottom of the river, and it's invasive. We didn't have it. And if they jump from creek to creek, river to river, they're just spreading this everywhere. And I think we are preaching to the choir when we keep relaying this message to other fly anglers, because we do clean our gear. For the most part, our waders, our nets, our boots, our boats. But some of these weekend warriors that come up and worm dunk, they are not in tune to that whole, I don't know what you call it, the social circle. So I think we need to get the word out more on the areas that aren't directly connected to the fly fishing world.
Yeah, but that being said, there are a lot of new fly anglers too, right?
This is true. But I think they are as much, or if not more savvy than we were in paying attention to the YouTube channels and, all the socials. So there's definitely that message out there. And there's signage at many of our major boat launches, clean your gear, clean your boat. New Zealand mud snails have been an issue in our state for a while. But I know that there's a lot of guys that jet boat or jet sled and duck boats and stuff that probably don't clean their boats as much as they should, especially for changing watersheds or river watersheds.
Yeah. But on a slightly more positive note, your Hendrickson hatch is just around the corner.
I would hope so. This past weekend was I wouldn't say untraditional trout opener. It was cold, more like our springs of the past. Last year we were spoiled with a nice warm spring. We had bugs in the middle of April. This weekend we saw a spattering of hennies, no fish rising, not with any consistency anyway. There were some blue wings going off, and the forecast this week is a gradual increase in temperature, daytime highs in the 60s, and we might bump into 70 by Mother's Day. So we shall see some caddis. Some Hendricksons will be flying around and fish will be rising. And that, of course, in northern Michigan also means a high forest fire alert alarm for our very dry tinder forests.
Got it. But of course, I know kind of a frustrating weekend on the water drove you to your Norvise. What have you been tying up?
We've been doing the boogeyman. The boogeyman saved the day Sunday. We had a whole bunch of guys throwing streamers because it called for the nice overcasty, cloudy, spitty, northern Michigan high of 50-degree kind of forecast that we love. Every fish that we had was in the middle of the river. They weren't coming out of the corner slots that we were hitting underneath the logs and stuff. So the fish are deep and they're looking for that one morsel to snack on right in the middle of the river. And it seemed to be, after we threw everything but the kitchen sink, the boogeyman was the guy that turned most fish.
Well, there you go. And I want to give a shout out to our friends at Norvise. They generously sponsor the fishing report, and their show season is officially over. But if you want to check out all the great things that they have to offer at Norvise, you ought to head over to www www.nor-vice.com. And folks, we love questions on the articulate fly. You can email them to us. You can DM us on social media. You can drop them in the comments to our social media posts, whatever is easiest for you. And if we use your question, I will send you some articulate fly swag, and then we will enter in a drawing for some cool TNT swag, as well as a $100 Norvice gift certificate. And before I let you go this evening, Kaz, you want to let folks know, where they can find you, what your guide availability looks like, and all that kind of good stuff.
May and June are booked up pretty solid. July and August, let's get out and do some mousing and see what we can find in the terrestrial world. True North Trout, I can be found on the usual socials, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Look me up. Let's get on the water. Love to fish with you.
Yeah, there you go. I know about the mouse fishing, but when's your hex hatch?
Hex is, if I could throw a dart at the calendar, I would put around the 19th of June. We'll be in full swing. So third week in June.
Yeah, very, very cool. Well, listen, folks, you owe it to yourself to get out there and catch a few and clean your gear. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Kaz.
Good talking to you, Marvin. Have a great week.
Take care.